Hi friends, let us welcome back to our channel, that is Pointer. So in the last class we have discussed about understanding marginalization. Okay na friends, we have discussed about understanding marginalization. So today we are going to continue the further chapter. But before going to continue, let's discuss what we have learned in the last class. Okay, first we understood what is marginalization. So we have seen with an example, 8th class student. So certain group of people are doing something, but he was interested to do something different. Okay, so while they were playing particular game, he was interested in dancing. Next, he was interested in listening music. He was interested in roaming. Okay, while they were listening classes, he was interested to bunk the classes. So in this way, difference is created. Okay, so these people were viewing him differently with a different perspective. So because of that, the barrier will be created. Then he was excluded from them. So this process is nothing but marginalization. Okay, this process is nothing but marginalization. Now let's see a realistic example. Now let's see. So that is, so many social communities or Adivasi communities or tribals. So they were marginalized. Okay, they were marginalized because of their differentness of culture, their traditions, their ritual practices, because of that differentness. So these people were separated from this group of people. So they are always viewing in them different perspective because of their appearance, because of their costumes. Okay. So Adivasis are social communities and different communities. So different communities, how they were marginalized. So because of their unique culture, their traditions, and the language they spoke. So because of all such things, they viewed them with a different perspective. Different perspective. So because of this different perspective, so the barrier is created between them. So between these communities and other group of people. So because of the difference barrier, okay, they lack the resources and opportunities. Okay, this different perspective, because of this different perspective, so they treated themselves very low, and because of that, they lost the resources and opportunities because of that barrier. Okay, so in this way, that people became unfit in these people, so they were excluded. So this process is nothing but marginalization. Okay, this process is nothing but marginalization. Okay, note it down, friends. So now let's understand. Now let's understand how Adivasis were marginalized in detail. So Adivasis were marginalized because because once upon a time, Adivasis lead a very good life with their unique traditions, culture, and their ritual practices. Okay, they practice the nomad cultivation, shifting cultivation, and they used to crop at one place too. So in that way, they lead a rich lifestyle. But in this society, all people will then project through their different dressing appearance and the language they spoke. Okay, so they only project that thing, but they forget the richness of the Adivasis. This is happens. So while Adivasis leading their great lifestyle, private industries, so they entered into the forest, and with the help of the state, okay, so taking advantage of the political power, so they introduced the forest losses and policies, and they forcefully thrown Adivasis and tribal people from there, okay, for the sake of minerals and ores. So for the sake of minerals and ores, private industries they forced them to buy their land and vacate the place. If they don't did, so they will beat them, and advancedly they took them to the court. But for the Adivasis people to argue for the people, there were no lawyers. Okay, there were no lawyers for them to support them. So taking advantage of all such things, and private industries people were exploiting, and Adivasis people were evacuating from them. Okay, this is what happened. Next, further, private forest policies. So because of all such actions, tribal people were evacuated. Okay, tribal people were evacuated. So because of this, immense of migration taken place. So in this process, in this migration process, because of not proper availability of food and water and shelter, so because of non-availability, many were died, and many Adivasi people were struggled very hard to fit in that society. Okay, to lead a life at towns and cities. Their whole and soul dependent on daily wage work. So sometimes they didn't get the proper work. Okay, so in such a way they lead a conflict life which is intolerable. Okay, so this is what happened regarding Adivasis marginalized. Then further we have discussed about who are Adivasis. Who are Adivasis? So who are Adivasis? So they are the inhabitants. Okay, so they were the first grown at forest. They lived there. Their livelihood was tied up with the forest. Okay, they are the first. It's their land. So for them, their forefathers given for them that land. They are the inhabitants. Okay, who are Adivasis? They are the inhabitants. So their livelihood was tied up with forest. Livelihood was tied up with forest. Okay. So in our India, 8% of population were tribal or Adivasi people. Okay, 8% population in our India. Further, so the places they were living, okay, Adivasis, where they were living, they are the rich, contented. So they have high availability of resources, such as the costly one will be minerals and resources, minerals and natural resources, and ores. That is, okay, minerals and ores. Example: gold, metals, copper, diamonds. So all such things were available at where the Adivasis were living. So in Adivasis, there were different communities, variety of communities. Let us see with an example. So Odisha. So Odisha state consists of tribal people, okay, Adivasi people. So in that Adivasis, there were 60 variety of communities. They are different in the language they spoke, the culture and the traditions, okay. So there were variety of communities within Adivasi. Variety of communities. Example: Odisha. 60 variety of communities. Further, so they lived in many states: Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, next Meghalaya, Tripura, Shillong, Manipur. So in such a way, Assam. So they lived in many places. Okay. So Adivasis practices, ritual practices are different from the other communities. That is Islam community, Christianity community, next Hindu community or Sikhs. So they are completely different from them. Okay. So they practice praying for the ancestors. Example: Satalal Jayanti. Okay. So they practice performing ritual duties for their ancestors. So they pray for the rivers, water. Next they pray for the trees and forest. So they are their ritual practices. Ritual practices. So praying for ancestors. Next, rivers and for forests, they will pray. So because of the unique ritual practices of Adivasis, many were influenced. Okay. So nearby the kingdom people, so those who are weak communities, so they are highly influenced by the Adivasis ritual practices. Okay. Example: at Odisha, so the cult of Jagannatha Radayatra. The cult of Jagannatha Radayatra. So many people were influenced and attracted for it. Okay. So this is what the Adivasis. So the rich lifestyle of Adivasis. So this is all about the last class what we have learned. Now let's discuss today's class. Now let's discuss today's class. That is Adivasis and stereotypes. Adivasis and stereotypes. So at any official event, okay, at any official event, whatever it might be, but always either through TV, televisions, or else radios, newspapers, through social media, always they will project, okay, always they will project Adivasis as a different view. That is, so wearing of costumes, wearing of headgear on the heads, and because of their language, because of their practices, they always projected in a different view, okay, different view. So because of that, stereotype was developed. Because of that, stereotype was developed. That is, they were exotic. Exotic. They were primitive. And they were backward. So this is the stereotype developed. This is the stereotype. So stereotype means this says particular community or particular society or group of people. So they will behave like in this way only. They prejudge. So they will do in this way only. Okay, this is the only way they will do. For example, boys don't want to cry. Okay, boys don't want to cry. So this is a stereotype. They will prejudge. Second one will be, so politicians are corrupted. So these all comes under stereotype, and this is the stereotype Adivasis got because of their different unique culture and traditions. So because of wearing costumes and headgear on heads for the sake of dance, and the languages they spoke. So because of that, they got this stereotype. Okay, so this is all about Adivasis and stereotypes. Now let's discuss about Adivasis development. Adivasis development. Adivasis development. So where the places Adivasis were lived, they are the highly availability of minerals resources will be very high. Okay, they have rich culture. Mineral resources such as mineral resources and ores. So such as gold, next copper, iron, further diamonds are also available. Okay, so these are available. Next forest products. So timber will be the most demanding one, and animal products, wax. Next further honey will be collected from the forest. Next even animals. So all such things were demanded where the Adivasis were lived. So they all things are available at Adivasis. So those who are lived in forest. Okay. So because of that demand, so nearby kingdom people, okay, nearby kingdom people started exploiting such things. They didn't rule Adivasis. Okay, they didn't rule, but they started exploiting such things. Kings and kingdoms. And kingdom. So for the Adivasis people, in the 19th century, India consists of complete forest. Okay, completely forest. Very land will be available. Because of the human actions, currently we are lasting the forest. But once upon a time at 19th century, so India majority of the portion covered with forest. So in that forest, Adivasis lived a life, a richful life, and they know everything about the forest. They know how to access each and every roots, every advantages of leaves. If unexpectedly any snake will bite them, so they prepared their own medicine because of the knowledge they had. Okay, so through that they will serve. So they know each and everything, access and knowledge about forest. But currently they were treated as marginalized, okay, and backwarded because of the financial and economical conditions. But once upon a time, currently they were treated as marginalized. But in olden days, they have intensified of land. So they practiced nomad cultivation. They practiced shifting cultivation. They practiced staying at one place and producing the crop. Okay, for every season they produce the crop. So they grow the crop, they protect the crop, and at the end they will collect the yield. Okay. So shifting cultivation means, so at certain part they will sow the seeds, and up to getting the yield they will protect the crop. After getting the yield, so it will left empty space for another season, because to provide the nutrition for the land and soil. So they move to the further place. At that place they will clear the forest and they will continue the cultivation. Okay. So how much they will clear, that much they will improve. So in this way they will fulfill their needs through the forest. So they followed the nomad cultivation. Next, shifting cultivation. They stayed at one place and cultivated for the years. And they were most popular for the hunter and gatherers. Okay, they hunted animals for their food, for the sake of food. And Adivasis were started wearing animals. Okay, wearing animals and collected wool. So this is the progressive of Adivasis. So wearing also taken place. Okay. So this is what the rich culture of Adivasis. Now let's see what happened. So note it down, friends. So for the sake of the industries, oil refinery projects, and because of the forest policies, so they for the natural minerals and ores, okay, for the sake of them, so they started excavating the people from the forest. They forcefully excavated them. Okay, for the sake of minerals and ore. such as gold, next copper, iron, next diamonds. And also state played many roles to let them out. So because of all such actions, they were migrated from the forest to cities or towns. So here the migration not only impacted on the livelihood of the people, okay, not only on the livelihood, but it also impacted on the rich culture they followed, the traditions they followed, okay. So the ritual practices they did. So such all things were perished because of this conflict. So they completely lost their lives. They are just struggling to survive. Okay, because of the forest policies. So they were migrated. Because of all such things, they were migrated. So because of the migration, they moved to the towns or cities. So in this migration process, non-availability of proper drinking water, proper food and shelter. So many were died in this process. And many were dependent on daily wage labor work. So because of this, economically disturbed, and because of the economic conditions, they were directly impacted on the social conditions. So they were treated backward, okay, because of the economic conditions. So they were interconnected to the social conditions. So they were treated backward. So this backwardness restricted to getting from the resources, proper resources and proper opportunities. So the growth will be decreased, and the tribal people or Adivasis people, so the children became many were malnutrition. So Adivasi children were malnutrition, became malnutrition. Okay, so they were malnutrition. So at rural places, nearly more than 55% people became backward, and when it comes to urban, nearly 40% were backward. So because of that, they were impacted in all dimensions, either economically, socially, okay, in opportunities. Their literacy rate became declined and they became the malnutrition. They are just struggled for the leading a life and to survive. So this is all about today class. Thank you friends.